Hello, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Boynton coming to you from a new continent. This is the continent of Europe. And Mrs. Boynton is very fortunate because she's been to Europe a few times. You want to know where she's been in Europe? She's been to that boot country called Italy, France, Spain, England, Ireland, Germany. Mrs. Boynton is very fortunate that she got to travel those places. All right, and from Europe, we're doing a vocabulary review. Remember, we learned the word fierce, and we added the suffix on the end of fierce, E-S-T, and that made fiercest. So fierce means dangerous or violent, and fiercest means the most dangerous or the most violent. Next, we learn the word magnificent. If something is magnificent, you admire it because of its great beauty or size. And we also learn the word ungrateful. Ungrateful means not thankful or not grateful because we have this prefix on the beginning, un, that means not. If you are ungrateful, you do not thank someone who has done something for you or show your appreciation. Now, I want to know which of those words do you find interesting? Ungrateful, magnificent, fierce, or fiercest? I'll tell you which one I think is interesting. The word I think is interesting is ungrateful. And it always makes me sad when people act ungrateful. Did you know a lot of times I'll give a prize out to third graders, like the whole class, and maybe only one kid will say thank you. So it always disappoints me when third graders or other kids act ungrateful. But it makes me happy when they get rid of the un and they just act grateful and they say thank you. Okay, we're going to play the game Tell Me a Story again. Do you remember how to play? I'm going to tell you the beginning of a story that includes one of the vocabulary words. And then you are going to use your imagination and what you know about the word to make up an ending for the story. To play this, you're going to need to get your sticky note out, put your name at the top and number it 1, 2, 3, and give yourself some space between numbers 1, 2, and 3, because you're going to write a little bit. So pause the video until you have your sticky note ready. Okay, it's time for me to tell you a story. Here's story number 1. Gus and I were walking at the park, and we saw the fiercest squirrel I have ever seen. It was the fiercest squirrel because... Now, how might you finish the story? Use your imagination. For number 1 on your sticky note, you need to complete the sentence. You don't need to write the whole sentence, just what you would write in the blank. It's the fiercest squirrel because blank. What would make that squirrel fierce? What does it look like, or what is it doing to make it seem fierce? So write what would go in the blank next to number 1. Pause the video until you're done writing. Okay, we're moving on to number 2. Gus is riding his bike around the park. And then he looks up and he sees a magnificent blank. How might you finish the story? Look, he's saying, "It's so magnificent." What is he seeing? So for number 2 on your sticky note, he looks up and sees a magnificent blank. Make sure you put something in the blank that is truly magnificent and would make Gus so amazed to see it. You don't need to write the whole sentence, just fill in the blank. What did he see at the park that was so magnificent? Pause the video until you're done writing for number 2 on your sticky note. Okay, we're moving on to number 3. Paul makes Petunia a salad with lettuce, tomatoes, and carrots. Petunia is ungrateful and says, how might you finish the story? Now, for number 3, you're going to write a quote, what Petunia says. So Petunia is ungrateful and says, now for number 3, you must put quotation marks because you're writing what someone says. So you put a quote, then you write the sentence with a capital and a period or perhaps an exclamation point. And then when Petunia's done talking, you're going to put an end quote. So you must use quotation marks because you're quoting Petunia. You are writing her exact words. For number 3, you don't have to write what I wrote up at the top. You just have to write a quotation about what Petunia said that showed she was ungrateful. Pause your video until you've written your whole quote with 2 quotation marks, a punctuation mark at the end, and you have capital letter at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, by now you should have number 1, number 2, and number 3 all done. Your name should be on your sticky note, and now you're ready to put your sticky note in your sticky spot. Thanks for reviewing vocabulary with me right out of Europe. See you later.